Hey everybody, this is Damon Sugamelli, and I'm back with my co-hosts Mike Bloxam,
Howdy,
Ryan Green, MJ Cogburn, and joining us again is Lisa Hollifield, her YouTube channel, The Wolf and the Storm. If you want to remind everybody what that channel is about.
Right now it's primarily David Tennant / Doctor Who stuff. There hasn't been some content in a while because of obvious things going on in Hollywood at the moment. But now that we've had some fairly large updates about the Doctor Who 60th anniversary, I'll have some more content come out here very shortly once the episodes air.
Cool, yeah. As I said before we got on, I would like to get into Doctor Who, but that's another rabbit hole that I just don't have the time to go down right now.
Big rabbit hole.
I know it is.
It is a big one.
I know. I wish I could.
If you think quantum entanglement's bad.
Yeah, I know. Well, anyway, we're talking about Quantum Leap, Season 2, Episode 5, One Night in Koreatown, which aired November 1st, 2023, written by Benjamin Raab and Deric A. Hughes, directed by Tamika Miller. So our synopsis: Ben lands in the body of an 18-year-old working for his father's shoe store in Koreatown in Los Angeles at the start of the explosive 1992 riots. Facing an emotional connection in the riots to his past, magic joins Ben on the leap. So we have our usual cast: Raymond Lee as Dr. Ben Song, Caitlin Bassett as Addison Augustine, Mason Alexander Park as Ian Wright, Nanrissa Lee as Jen Chu, and Ernie Hudson as Herbert. Magic Williams. We do not have Tom or Hannah in this episode. I think Hannah's back in the next one, though. I think.
I saw her in the update.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that goes. Our guest cast is C.S. Lee as Jin Park, Danny Kang as Sonny Park, Benjamin Flores Jr. as Dwayne, Annalisa Velez as Luisa Rojas with a J, and Susan Diol as Beth Calavici. She's back. I did not expect to see her back. Our leap date is April 29th, 1992, the day the riots began, and Ben has leaped into Daniel Park, 18-year-old Daniel Park. Okay, so I guess, I don't know, Mike, you usually go first with what you think of the episode, so.
Well, we could always switch it up, but I just want to point out you didn't expect Beth back.
Yeah, I did not.
I think I missed the episode, but between episodes 2 and 3, my wife said, "I'll bet Magic's girlfriend is Beth," and I was like, "Really? Really? Oh, maybe." Yeah, she was right. So
I'm surprised. I did not expect
Women's
that.
intuition.
There you go.
Yeah.
So chalk one up for Leanne. She called that one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, why don't we let our guest Lisa give her thoughts first?
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, we're all friends here.
All right. Okay, go first.
I will say this. I went into this with very low expectations because I know how this show has worked so far. And Black and White on Fire is one of my favorite episodes from the original. So I went in like, please God, they have so much they could work with this. Don't screw it up. I was surprised. I was honestly surprised. I mean, it wasn't perfect by any means, and there's definitely some things that they could have done better. But the emotional beats were there.
Mm-hmm.
There was just some things I think could have been improved upon. All in all, I will say, of everything I've seen so far, it was quite decent.
Mm-hmm.
Very decent. Good, in fact, if I want to be kind. Is it anywhere close to Black and White on Fire? Not a chance.
No. No, not at all.
Okay, have a good start. You tried.
Well, that being said, Lisa, I felt this was the best episode of the season so far, and honestly, probably one of the best episodes of the new series.
Emotionally, yes.
Yeah,
Very much.
it took us there.
Mm-hmm.
got us involved with the family. It made us care about the people and what was going on. And the acting was top notch this time around. I felt like everyone was really, really in their element.
They were on point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really, my bigger issues with the episode was not necessarily the acting. You're right. The acting was great. My issue was that I felt like we were not involved enough in the riots themselves. It felt like we were too bottlenecked. It took
felt the same
us
way.
completely in the store,
Yeah.
and even when the rioters came to the store, you could only see them from the outside. They were banging on the boarded up, and you could really hardly see their faces. And even when they broke in, the people were in the storerooms. You couldn't see anything. You could only hear them yelling, whatever. And by the time they got out, it was after the fact, and the store was already ripped to shreds.
Yeah.
I don't like to do comparisons here, but in Black and White on Fire, my favorite scenes, I was telling Damon this before, but my favorite scenes in that episode was at the clinic when the victims from the riots were being brought in, and Sam was trying to save their lives, and people were covered in blood and emotionally overwrought and hurt and just destroyed. And then his brother comes in carrying the lifeless body of their friend who died on the floor, and Sam is just overwrought and emotional, and they don't trust his girlfriend because she's white, and it was crazy, but it was emotional, and so you felt and experienced every part of what these people were going through because it was right in your face.
Yeah.
And in this, it felt kind of like there was a wall between what was going on in the store and what was going on out there. In the original episode, they made such good work of using the stock footage of the news footage of the original Watts riots to put you in there.
Yeah.
And they had Sam running from place to place, trying to get from the clinic back to his house to make sure to stop his brother from getting killed and all this. And he got himself beat up. His face was bloody. I mean, you were in it.
Yeah.
In this one, I mean, it was good, but they were only out there for a little bit. They dealt with the cops maybe once or twice, but no one was really affected. It just felt like
It was more of a backdrop.
like the show does not.
Yeah.
They're playing it safe too much. They don't want to take risks. This episode would have been one that, yes, it could have ended well when he saves them, but it should have had consequences. They should not have been able to tie it up with a pretty little bow.
Yeah.
Because Black and White on Fire sure didn't. Yes, he saved them, but his brother died.
Right.
And his brother's friend died. And he ended that episode a bloody mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So-
is very true.
Yeah.
I just feel like it had so much potential. So much potential that they could have done so much more with. But again, they played it safe.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I wanted to see more archival footage too, some more stock footage, and you saw some on the TV a little bit, but
A little bit.
yeah, like you're saying, it was more of a backdrop what was going on there instead of being in it. I like the way you said that.
Right.
Yeah, they said it on the other podcast. I think that they actually did want to shoot in Koreatown, but for whatever reason, I guess they weren't able to. So we do get a lot of like that, those like the sets. Like I mentioned it in the notes that you recognize that alley where they saved Dwayne. That's
I think
the
they've been
alley.
there like 3 or 4 times now.
That's the alleyway where the DeLorean drops down in Back to the Future Part 2. I'm like, I recognize it. Yeah, I see what you did there.
I'm so tired of seeing the damn back.
That was in the first episode.
I know,
Wasn't it?
and I think
Right.
yeah, yeah, a couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, Brian, MJ, what you've an initial first impression that's different than what we've heard already?
I've watched it a couple times since, and I don't know. I really liked the episode. It, like Mike was saying, it was one of those that really kind of hit home, as it had all the right feels of a Quantum Leap episode, which is what they really need to focus on, is the leap, and quit focusing so much on this non-relationship that keeps going and going, and I thought it was done.
Yeah.
But no, the kids are still fighting. or wanting to fight. I don't know. Kramer versus Kramer. I don't know.
That was funny.
With
That
your
was-
feeling.
Yeah, like
One,
just like,
they should have stayed totally in it because it was so emotionally
Mhm.
fraught. But no, remember that leap, that present past balance you were talking about? The
Mhm.
balance in the
Mhm.
team. Yeah, that wasn't present in this episode. They kept going. I swear to God, these people in the present day have a natural ability to stop momentum cold whenever they're on scene. Like, he had so much going on at the riots, and you're into it, and you want to see more of what's going on there, and are they going to be okay? And then it goes to the present day where they're still talking with him and Addison, or Magic and
okay, yeah, that one, yeah.
and whatever, and Ian and his issues with the chipper. I'm like,
Yeah.
I
we-
gotta agree with you on
Yeah.
that one. This time anyway, because I really wanted to see more of the riots.
Yeah.
The Magic alcoholic scenario should not have been in this episode. I don't think
Yeah.
it didn't belong.
I
It could have
liked-
waited.
Mm,
You know, I wanted to
liked
see
it though. Yeah.
I liked it, but
Yeah.
I would rather have seen it in a different episode
Yeah, I
where
like
there
that
wasn't so
character
much
development
more at
too.
stake
Okay.
going on.
Now, if they had a leap where he leaps in and he's helping Magic with the alcoholism, that would be the way to approach that.
Mm.
Yes,
Not
or if it was-
here.
not here.
Or if it was a
Not
leap
here.
involving something about alcoholism and somebody else.
Yeah.
I see
Right.
it. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
here's
Again,
Here's the-
they're putting way too many things into one episode.
Yeah, it didn't fit. There was no reason to put that in there this time.
Mm-hmm.
and I fully. I mean, he was that scene, the monologue that he gave was wonderfully done because he's a great actor. I mean, he was
Mhm.
fantastic.
Yeah.
But the problem is what this show has suffered from, and a lot of other shows of this day: too much tell, not enough show. Okay,
Mm.
him doing that monologue about his alcohol problems and about what he went through in Detroit, it was wonderfully done.
Mm.
But
Yep.
it's pretty much him standing on a soapbox going blah 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 blah, this happened and we still have problems today, blah 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 blah.
It's called being preachy.
Yeah.
That's
You-
mm.
See, okay, again, I hate to compare, but
I heard that, Brian.
in Black and White Fire, they were suffering the same problems in Watts, but instead of someone just standing there going, they got into the action and they showed you the effects of why.
Right.
In the beginning, before the riots ever happened, that was another difference. In Black Water Fire, the riots didn't happen until about 10, 15 minutes into the episode. It gave them a little bit of time, Sam a little bit of time to get to know the Leapy, his family, the girlfriend, their friend group, have that little party, and to get to know, the neighborhood, which I think they needed a little bit more with Ben. He needed a little more time to be out there amongst the Korean people and get to know the neighborhood a bit more. They just went straight in their riot so fast. But as soon as he realized when it was, Sam immediately, because he's Sam, was like, I got to stop this. And Al's like, you can't.
Mhm.
This started a long time ago, and it's not something that you can ever stop. But Al wasn't soapboxing. He was trying to backpedal Sam from doing something pretty stupid, from getting himself killed.
Yeah.
Nah, yes, this is bad, and it started a long time ago, and the first person got arrested for being black, whatever, and then he stopped.
Mhm.
Didn't go any further than that. He wasn't preaching. He was just saying, no, you got a job to do. I know you don't want this to happen, but it has to happen the way it happens. All you can do right now is save the people you're supposed to save and try not to get yourself killed doing it.
Yeah.
Stop the scene because the emotion flows nicely into what Sam needs to do next. It powers him down a little bit and gets him to understand, okay, I need to not do something dumb. But Magic, that was a whole 5 minutes of him standing on a soapbox and blah, blah, blah. And, you could just go back to Koreatown and show the riots going on where this is actually happening and make it a little more emotionally fraught and invested in what's actually happening. Show it! Show it! Not between black people and the Korean people, the white people getting thrown out of their cars and be like that. Show that. I don't need to you're a great actor, but I don't need to stand there and watch you talk for 5 minutes. Like, come on.
And even in the alleyway, they're supposed to be looking for Dwayne, right?
Mhm.
And Ben and Sonny are going through, and they stop and just have this conversation. Why?
Okay.
You wouldn't do that,
Yeah, I see it. I mean, I liked though that. I mean, it seemed like that he Magic was like PTSD. Like you saw him freeze up. Like
Yeah.
I as for the
Which
character
that is
development stuff.
understandable.
Yeah. That you're talking about afterwards, like when he's saying like I'm sorry I left you there or whatever, and I'm an alcoholic, and I see what you mean, that it could have been something that they threw in another episode somewhere, I guess. I did want to segue when you were talking about what Ernie Hudson's speech, because I did like the line, and I don't know if you want to take
I
that
have
line.
the line.
Yeah, say it.
The sparks of injustice may vary, but systematic oppression will always light the fuse. And no matter how much progress we make, it seems like that will never change.
Yeah, and I liked it. I did appreciate that all. This was, I had maybe but one minor criticism with. I mean, before we were talking, I see some of the faults now that you're saying, but at the time, what I was thinking was, this is, I think, just coming from the way that was shot. With it was like camera trickery, where it's almost like they're breaking the fourth wall and looking directly at you when they say that. It's supposed to be Magic and Jen talking to each other, but you see Jen looking directly at the camera crying. It's kind of like what you said, Lisa, how it's like almost sounds kind of preachy, like they're talking to us and not to each other. And it sort of did. Oh,
I won't say that I wasn't invested in what Magic was saying.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then Jen went and just ruined it all, and she was like, I went to a college, I wasn't afraid to teach Black history. I'm like, oh my god, really?
I did like that line. I mean, I don't know if I want to even talk about it. I don't really want to get into politics, but like coming from Florida, where it's like they actually are trying to like ban stuff in we have a governor who's like banning this doesn't want to teach Black history. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
that was a shot.
Yeah, no, that was an excellent line.
It was a good line, but I mean, like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just don't like them getting preachy.
Didn't need to be in this episode. It didn't need to be in this episode. I don't think.
I like my politics, or whatever you want to say it is, in episodes like that, to be as subtle as possible. You can do it in ways that are subtle,
Yeah.
and that are still there, but not stop a scene cold.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of thrown in there to just, okay, I see it.
I mean, it was worse with Ian and Addison in the exercise room. Like, that was a whole freaking 3 minutes for what? Them to talk about, do you know that Magic was dating Beth? Yeah.
That scene was pretty useless. What is Addison even going to do now?
Yeah. That is my
whole point is
criticism,
that scene was for that one little quote that Ian says.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a metaphor that he said.
About the nuclear reactor.
Yeah, he's the one that's melting down everybody.
Because of something their future self did, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that didn't.
But that didn't need to be in there either.
I know that was a bit. I thought it was like the second time I watched it, and I think even just earlier today, thinking about it, I'm like, you know what? That's another thing that they really didn't need that scene. I mean, Addison didn't have to be in the episode.
There were episodes where the main cast didn't appear for one episode here and there in season one.
Didn't. Yeah, I mean, she didn't really need to be there.
I feel because you would not. I mean, how I'm sure you guys have noticed this by now. When he's on his own and able to think for himself instead of having Addison lead him around like a dog on a leash.
I know you don't like Addison. I know.
I don't particularly like him either, Lisa, so we're in agreement on that one.
And literally anybody else but her, he functions very, very well with. Ian, Magic, Jen, no problem. Addison, that shit could stop a scene cold. Talk.
Oh,
Shut up.
So what do we think she's gonna do now? What's her function gonna be?
That's what I was wondering after
Addison?
last week.
Yeah.
It's like you can't be my hologram anymore. Okay, what is her purpose now? That's why that's exactly why
that
I'm
was
like
her
wondering.
whole point of being
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, so it's like
He was supposed to be her hologram,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
now it's supposed to be vice versa. But if he doesn't want her to be the hologram anymore, she doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
Bye,
And
Addison.
Secret History looks like it's Jen next episode.
Let's get rid of Addison.
Maybe she
that's why Hannah's coming in. I don't know.
maybe
Yeah.
she might do some help with research or something. I don't know. It seems like nowadays they're just doing a door of holograms based on who's best suited for the particular leap. Like
They're going to have her reading between the lines in
but
memoirs.
see, that irks me.
memoir.
Memoir.
That just the reason why the dynamic between Sam and Al were so well was because they were all each other had. Al was all he had, his only connection. So that closeness was justified, and they were. Now he can talk to anybody he wants, anytime he wants. No big deal. It's like, the stakes and the emotional through points are just not there anymore because they've given him all the guineas that he has all his memories. He doesn't have any Swiss cheese. He can talk to anybody he wants.
And he knew exactly the day that it was. The day that he leaped he knew it.
Yeah.
Well, he's old enough to probably have.
He knows so much. Why does he even need a hologram anymore?
Well, the LA riots was a big deal. Anybody would probably know. Anybody of a certain age would probably know.
I didn't know the exact date. I remember being in high school when it happened. I mean, I was a junior in high school, so it was like, right, April. So I must have, So, but I wouldn't remember the exact date. Yeah, I just know it was like around then, like the early '90s. So, yeah, I
do.
Anyway, yeah.
I will say this: when I went through watching it, I was looking at little things because I had it in the back of my mind, Black and White on Fire, and I was like, yep. It looked like they had watched Black and White on Fire, picked out the choicest bits, changed it up a little bit, and went, good to go. First of all, Ben is the younger brother. Again, Sam, the younger brother, has an older brother who at first may or may not have been doing something shady or hanging out with somebody who was shady. In Black One on Fire, the older brother was hanging out with some shady people.
Sounds like canon.
Ben's character was going to join the military. Sam's character was going to be going to medical school to come. Either way, they were both leaving the community to do something bigger. The brother was on a high horse wanting to do, not believing that the status quo was good enough and wanted to do something more for himself. The older brother in One on Fire also believed kind of the same thing, maybe not to the same violent extreme, but along the same lines. The father didn't trust the black kid solely because he was black. The father of the white girl didn't trust Sam's Leapy because he was black. The older brother got shot. Older brother got shot. The only difference was one died and the other didn't. Yeah, there was. I was like hit all the way through. Wow, they just pretty much blanket copied the whole thing with a few changes here and there.
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody really noticed this. This was the one issue I had with the whole leap was the Al and Magic getting together. I mean, not Al, Beth and Magic getting together.
That's a whole different.
Yeah, it's a whole different episode.
That's a whole different presentation, MJ.
I knew what I was talking about in my head. Leave me alone.
I was kind of there with that You know, that twinge.
But the thing is that
Mm-hmm.
Beth married Al in 1961
Oh,
when she was 20 or some odd, right? So she would be 90s in her 90s in 2026. Boy, she looks good for a 90-year-old. They are taking big time liberties with this one.
I've heard people.
They are not
say that
looking
before.
at that. Well, come on.
I know. Yeah, it is a
Maybe
bit.
she was only 12.
Oh yeah. As a nurse, yeah, sure.
No, for a fact, Al was even older than her because remember when in Leap for Lisa, he was a brand new flight officer in the 50s.
He was 23.
He was born in the 30s.
He was born in 34, right? Or 36?
1934.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that.
It was 1957.
You want me to look? I can look.
No, he said he was. It was 1957, and he said he was 23. So the math makes it. It's 1934, June 15th, 1934.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
She was somewhat younger than him when they got married, I guess. But
yeah,
they're. I mean, it twinged me off just a little because I love Al so much, but I also know that Al loved her enough that he wanted her to be happy.
right.
You know?
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
and
that's not the point. That's not the point that I was making. They could be together. That's fine. They could have just aged her better.
Well, let's say
Yeah.
she was born in 1940. She'd be 86, I guess.
86.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Maybe she just took really good care of herself.
Maybe.
My mom is 83. I know what my mom looks like, and she doesn't look 83.
Do we know how
But-
old Susan Diol is in
Come
real life?
on.
I don't.
No, I just looked it up, and it doesn't have her birth year, at least
Oh,
on
it doesn't?
IMDb. No. She didn't want it.
I mean,
so.
she looks really good for her age,
She does.
whatever age she is.
Mhm.
But they could have aged her just a wee bit more, and I would have been okay with that.
Yeah, I told you guys offline. To be fair, my mother always looked like 10 years younger than she really was, and she looked like. I mean, it was. I don't know. Maybe she's got really good genes.
Susan Diol is 61 years old. She was born in 1962.
No way.
Really?
She's
Okay.
how old?
61.
So when she did MIA, she was only in her probably late 20s.
Hmm.
She did that episode.
Oh, yeah, she was very young. Yeah.
Or just about 30. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'll say too. Is like I don't know how a lot of people are going to feel about with Beth. I don't think I have a problem with it necessarily. Her and I wasn't expecting.
Oh, I don't have a problem with it at all.
No, I actually kind of liked it. I thought it was sweet.
Yeah, me and Lisa were saying this beforehand. Well, I've said it in the other. I think I've said it in past episodes that I feel like they were trying to, like they got rid of Janice, and it's like I feel like they've been trying to remove themselves as much as possible from the original show. So it surprises me that they're keeping her in there.
Mm.
So what is this supposed to be? Quantum Leap in name only?
It seems. I mean, it seems like they've kind of been going there. I mean, admittedly, it does.
Name dropping Sam. They were talking about. She was talking about her relation or Al's despair over losing Sam and how much it affected him when they couldn't get him back. I'm like, if you are not going to have him come back, or you're not going to try to follow the rules of this show the way they were laid down, then please stop talking about Sam.
Right?
Yeah.
I said that. Remember, Mike? I said that
Yeah, I
last
do.
week.
Yep.
You're just pissing people off even more. Just hanging on by a thread, just waiting to. I mean, I don't necessarily need him to come back to present day. I just need to know wherever he is, that he's okay.
Well, I always said that. I don't think he's ever coming home. I don't expect him to come home, but I'm sure he's out there somewhere, and it's just saying, or like, ideally, I would think that if Ben found him, he might say something like, "I didn't want to be found. What made you think that I wanted to be found? Like I did this to Al, and I expected this. Like I think he's doing what he was meant to do. That was his calling. was leaping, helping others. What's he going to do when he leaps home? Sit behind a desk, doing equations and
Yeah, I think the title card. I think the title card at the end of the original series is true. He never returned home.
Yeah.
I don't think that means we can't see him again.
That's right.
At some point.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's ever going to just say, "Hey, I give up."
Like, the present day team doesn't understand the purpose. They've never made. They seem like they've never made the try to really understand what Sam was trying to do. They're always going on about how to get Ben back and all this, and the leaps to them always come up as like a means to an end to do whatever they have to do to get Ben back. Yes, they care about the people, but it's not. It was never the point. If they understood Sam at all, if they bothered to read the project notes, and I know Al took copious notes, if they ever bothered to understand what Sam's point was, Sam never had any intention to come back.
Yeah.
Once he figured out that he could control it, he was never going to come back. He made a choice. He wanted to help people for the rest of his life. This was always, I think Tom had it somewhat when he was trying to explain it. It wasn't necessarily a one-way trip. It's a choice.
Yeah.
The sacrifice thing, yeah.
Right.
Which we talked about last week. Yeah.
Going on and on, time trying to get Ben back. That's not what it's about. He's not going to come back.
Yeah.
But what did you guys felt like the...
You got a visitor, Lisa.
No, that was just my son coming in.
I had my son come in anyway.
Yeah.
I can get mine. Let's just bring all ours in.
No, my son's asleep now. I don't want to wake him up.
So, what did you guys think of the scenes in the store itself? Like the relationship between the sons and the father and all that mess?
I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was very authentic.
It hit all the right notes.
Yeah.
Per se. I really thought it was funny after he tells, is it Jin? The father?
Jin's the father, yeah.
Yeah. Jin, yeah.
He talks to him in Korean, and he's finally like, when did you speak Korean?
Yeah, when did you learn to speak Korean? It was so good.
You know what Amada said? She's like, didn't he speak to in Korean before? I'd be like, I think it was just like it was like greeting him, like it's sort of like it was probably like the one phrase he knew.
Yeah, calling him father,
something like that. Yeah,
Appa.
but he probably didn't have conversational Korean with his father. I'm like, I tried to explain to him, like I think that's what they meant.
Yeah, having lived in South Korea for 8 months, I have an affinity for for things that are themed Korean, so that might be partly why I enjoyed this episode. But it was cool.
I did like that. I kind of like that too. When what they're talking about with that Sonny, the other son, wants to go into business with Dwayne. And Jin is like he's talking about it's like, oh, you're so ungrateful, and I thought you were going to do this. It's like I'm trying to move forward in my own life, and I felt like I know it's like it's another subplot in this episode, but I mean it's telling us about the characters, and I liked that. I don't know. I connected with it somehow. It just that feeling like you want to forge your own path. And the parent figure is feeling betrayed, and this is like what they have in their life, and then see it all destroyed in a riot, and that's where I am in that.
That was a really emotional scene where they were trying to put the store back together, and the father was just kind of sitting there in an emotional daze, like everything he had was completely lost. Because I'm guessing the mother had died previous to this or something, so it was just the three of them. So not only was he losing the store, one son was wanting to go off and start a sneaker empire with the business partner, and the other one's going into the military.
Right.
He had lost everything in his own life. So
was out from underneath him. I would have liked to have seen that parlayed outside, though. Like maybe he decided, because in the original. In the history, the Koreans got up on the roofs with their guns, and then we were, trying
And
to
that
keep people out of their stores. I would like to have seen him get like emotionally frustrated over what was going on with his personal life and go up to the roof with the gun and, not like start shooting, but, just be
like
so
talk 'em
angry.
down.
Maybe have been talking back down and getting back into
talk 'em down.
He was
That
angry
would have
about
been a little bit better, I
that
think.
or just get them into, like you were saying, that when they were trying to find Dwayne, they hid from the cops just a little bit. Cops saw them, didn't see them, backed off, whatever. It was like a nothing burger. I remember, again, in Black and White on Fire, when Sam was running from the clinic back to where his brother was at the apartment because he was holding the girlfriend hostage and the father was going to shoot him. It took him forever to get there because he had out with the cops, and he got sprayed with hoses, barked at and bitten by dogs, beat up by cops. I mean, and then you saw the footage of it happening to other people. The cars were on fire. Blood was everywhere. It was a mess. His face was bloody. By the time he got there, his clothes were covered in blood. It was a mess. In this, they hid from the cops for like 5 seconds. The cops go away, and then they go back to the store on the corner. It's like, come on. There's so much potential. They could have showed him running through streets, trying to get away from the cops, and had him come back bloody faced. Take some risks, people.
Yeah. Well, but getting back to that with Dwayne, and then we said it's like I've lost everything or whatever, and then Dwayne's like, you still have your sons, like you didn't lose anything, like telling him like what's more, like isn't that more important than anything? I'm like, and then he was like, really, oh, it's just stuff, and then I saw that coming when the door opened, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I was telegraphed a mile away. Almost.
I'm like, oh, it's happened. He's going to shoot his son, and that's what happened. And I'm like, I don't know whether to feel sorry for him or to say, you idiot. I don't know. But fear does that to you, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just say that now, that I guess not that he completely was like not a racist afterwards, but like because he didn't trust Dwayne at all. But when they were getting into the ambulance, he's like, well, if you don't get him to a hospital, right treatment within an hour, he's definitely going to die or whatever. So he's in getting the key for the ambulance to go, and the police are going to shoot him. And when he comes out, and so like, I don't know, I felt that with him just like pleading, like, please don't kill my son. It's like basically, I don't know. I don't know. I felt that. That's when I started really crying my eyes out. I was like, okay.
That was a great scene with the father standing in front of him. The only distraction I had for that scene was who leaves keys in the car?
In the ambulance, yeah.
In the ambulance. Oh, let's just leave it there. It's been sitting there for... Yeah, the paramedics just... they're just gone.
Because
we're pulling people and beating the crap out of them.
The ambulance was sitting there when her car was burning.
Yeah.
They passed right by it. So that ambulance has been sitting there an hour or 2 or 3. Nobody came back to get it. Nobody tried to steal it. It's okay.
All the supplies were still in it.
It was so convenient.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away the emotion of the scene. Well, I don't know. To me, it didn't take away the emotion of the scene. I'm like, okay. It was like he was starting to see the error of his ways, and he's just seeing that my son needs to be saved. He did nothing wrong. Like, that was the point. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just making assumptions.
Yeah.
It's based on our... I mean, we're all guilty of it in some way or another. I'm sure at some points in our lives where, and speaking of I forgot about that with when Louisa is she has to leave, and she sees her car destroyed, and she's like, what did I do? I didn't do anything. I'm angry too. I'm like, this is exactly I feel like at least they were trying to get, like, we're seeing different viewpoints this time, and it didn't feel like it was just one-sided. So I don't know how the rest of you feel, but I feel like at least they were trying to show different, like, oh, well, this is how he feels about blacks. He doesn't trust any of them. And then they're showing this, the innocent, like, other people get affected by this who aren't even involved. It affects people in all different ways, and I'm glad we got to see different sides of that.
Well, like Lisa said, if they could have gone deeper into that,
we've gone a lot farther,
so much deeper into it, and they decided to go with alcoholism and kids fighting. I mean, that 3-minute scene with Ian and Addison, they didn't need that scene at all.
Yeah,
they could have used that 3 minutes to get some more meat into the story. But
I would never forget.
I agree.
Black and White on Fire, right after the brother gets shot, and he bleeds to death in Sam's arms.
Yeah.
And Sam is holding him, covered in his blood. Tears to Al. Please tell me it has to mean something. Please tell me it has to mean something. What is it all for? And the very last scene, as he leaps out, is him standing on the street corner, covered in blood, face swollen, just emotionally destroyed. And yes, he managed to, do what he was sent there to do. But it wasn't tied up with a pretty pink bow by no means. It was an emotional mess. There was definitely consequences. People died. People were hurt.
And then Sam leaped out, and and then he leaped out, and he was in a magic box about to be.
Yeah, right. And they're in the ambulance, and Ben Magic tells them the brother's going to be fine. The company's going to be big. Okay, great. Where's the consequences? Like, everybody's pretty pink bow, happy. Outside, the city's burning. Come on.
Yeah, I know. Well, do we want to talk about just some of the actors? Just like, might as well. I mean, C.S. Lee, I thought he was great. I mean, I did think he was really good. I had remembered him as he was you never saw it, Mike. He was in Chuck. He was
Okay.
He was his first boss at the Buy More for like a few episodes, but I did not realize that he was also in Dexter. I don't know. Did you guys see Dexter? Any of you?
No.
Oh.
I've seen a couple. Yeah.
He was like Oh yeah, it's a good show. I didn't realize that until Sam Fain brought it up on Fates Why Wheel podcast. I was like, oh, that's where else I've seen C.S. Lee. I'll just say it right now. I'm gonna plug Sam. Sam had some really good insight into, like, if anybody wants to know more about like the context of what led to the riots and stuff like that. I'll just recommend maybe people want to check out their podcast this week because, everything that led up to the riots, if you want to know more about it. But I thought I thought C.S. Lee was really good. I feel like I've seen him in a lot of things. He does like comedy roles, and then he does like stuff like this.
Okay.
Yeah. What else do I want to say? I might as well mention Ian's line, ready to trip the light quantastic.
I like the expression on their face when they say that.
Oh, and the dig that they were getting in on Magic was not needed either. Are you sure you can handle the hand link? I mean, it's much more
I've seen
difficult than a iPhone. Really? What the hell?
True.
That
was not needed.
I've seen her do it a million times before. Like, he's like, true. Yeah,
it wasn't needed.
Why did they say that?
It was a dig.
He's been in the
not
imaging
needed.
chamber before.
Well, maybe it was just some friendly, ribbing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably. They're trying to show the team aspect, and
It didn't sound like it. It sounded like some Gen Z garbage.
yeah, I don't know.
Do you know how many skills Al had? Astronaut, fighter pilot, test pilot, freaking, Starlight Project scientist, all this stuff. I'm telling you, Magic Navy
with the Congress all the time.
You can't tell me you can't handle a freaking. Come on.
And he's an admiral. He should know how to do some stuff.
Yeah. Well, Mike, since you usually bring it up, because you lament, what is the word, lamented? Is that
yes.
how there was no music last week?
Yep.
So
they had some pretty good music this week.
Well, it was nice to start off with a bang with Poison there by Bill Dev DeVoe. Yeah.
I remember dancing awkwardly to that as a junior in high school, like at the dances. I'm like, oh god. I would not listen to that music now, but like, okay, yeah.
It's a good song. It's a good song.
Yeah, it's okay. It's good. Yeah.
And then I guess "I Love Your Smile" by Shanice was on. I didn't hear it, but someone else pointed it out. So
I pointed it out. Yeah,
it's been stuck in my head all day since then.
Yeah,
if you put on the closed captions, it'll even show you what's playing. Okay. So next time when you watch it, put that on, and it'll show the little icon down at the bottom, and then
I had to listen.
Even has the words of the songs on there too.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, I had to really listen for it, and I was rewinding it on my DVR. I'm like, now I'm trying to like find them. I'm like, oh wait, there's another song playing. What is it? And I hear the. I'm like, what? I know the song, but I don't know what song that is. And I had to ask my wife, and she's like, oh yeah, I have it on my playlist. I'm like, what is it? I'm like, oh, that's it. Thank you.
Well, I suppose some
period music this time. That's
something
encouraging.
better than nothing, but again, like I was telling Dan before, this show really needs to learn how to use music effectively. Use it to uplift a scene. Use it to push those emotional beats. There's a reason why shows use leitmotifs for certain characters, so that when you see them come on screen, Doctor Who was great for this. Each companion has their own motif. So when that song plays, you know immediately that they're there.
Yeah.
Because you can correspond that musical beat to that character. And it drops the emotion right into the scene. They're just using it to, this is the 90s. Yeah, that's the 80s. Yeah, that's the 70s.
The needle drop, I think they call it. Yeah. Because I know, they do it more for like the nostalgia more than the actual. Immersion,
because they don't immerse anything else.
Yeah. And what was and then there was the other song playing, and what, Brian, you said it was For the Love of You?
For the Love of You by the Isley Brothers.
Yeah. I was like, what is that song too? That one I could not place. So at least we got,
something.
We got something.
Maybe they're doing this because they don't want to have the same problem that Quantum Leap had before with, music rights when it goes to DVD. I don't know. The fewer songs, the less money you have to pay.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I have no other notes, so...
Well, I was just going to pick up on what MJ said about Magic being an admiral. Is this the first time we've heard that his rank is admiral? Because it was new to me.
No, I saw it in your notes just now. No, they did mention it, I think, in season 1.
They mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, they mentioned it early in the
Obviously,
season.
Piece of information I didn't retain, but
yeah, I know. Well, sometimes we miss stuff.
I would have thought that you want someone with corresponding rank to Al at the least in order to head the project.
For sure. Yeah, it makes sense. I just
in order to be able to stand up to the government types.
I think what I don't.
It didn't work for when they broke into Project Quantum Leap to find Ben. It took Tom to come in and magically call the senator.
Well, that's what I was saying too. ever since we found out, like with the 3-year gap, whoa, sorry, my phone dropped. Let me try that again. I have it like standing up here. Okay, take 2. That's what I was wondering too. What I was like a little confused about, because since the time jump, and he says I'm not in the military anymore. Does that mean he's not an admiral, or does he? I guess he still has the rank.
It doesn't matter if you're retired. You're always known as that. Period.
Yeah.
Admiral had been retired for quite some time, but whenever he went to Capitol Hill to press money for Quantum Leap, he was fully decked.
Yeah.
And he's still a sign of respect. You will always be known as Admiral. Period.
Yeah.
Do you still kind of have that authority, even though you're not in the military anymore?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure how that works, but I was just trying to just understand that. I'm like, okay, so he's still an admiral. Okay.
He might not necessarily like some of the higher authorities that an active duty admiral might have, like promoting people and stuff like that, as if he was actually in. But respectfully, this is from someone who was in for 8 years. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I did like one more quote. Can I put in one more quote? This is when they're talking, Ben and Magic are talking right before he tells him that he's an alcoholic. And he says, this is afterwards. He says, "You didn't lose me, Magic. I made a choice to leap, and the consequences of that are my burden to bear, not yours. And as for what you're living with, you're an admiral and a decorated SEAL. If there's a battle to be fought, I know you can win it."
Yeah.
So it's a good quote. Anybody who is dealing with an alcoholism, that's a big battle to bear, which I understand that.
Yeah.
But that first part of that quote, Ben really kind of hits it home. He made the choice to leave. So he has to deal with what he has done.
Yes. Yep.
Which kind of goes back to what Tom was saying in the previous episode, that it's a choice.
Yeah. It's a sacrifice that the engine requires sacrifice.
Yeah.
I guess.
They'll get it. They'll figure it out at some point that,
Best I can do is a one-way trip.
It's a personal choice.
Anybody see that meme the other day?
Oh.
Just the two guys that are, you're from that show, whatever it is. He's like, let's get me home. They're like, best I can do is a one-way trip.
Well, anything else we want to bring up before we wrap up, or?
Personally, I think that you were saying about Ian sneaking in to use the one terminal or whatever. This is just a personal thing with me. I wish that instead of sneaking into the LA facility, that they would have skedaddled over to Stallion's Gate and snuck in there instead.
I've heard that before too.
Because no one would think to look for them in there with all that antiquated tech. I would have cried. I would have been like, oh, the original facility. That would be great. So great.
I've heard that too.
And I think it would have showed a lot of good faith to the original fans to give us something,
Yeah.
Well,
I have one more little comment to make. I understand why Beth was, now after seeing the episode, I understand why she was so adamant about why Magic was saying, something may happen and I may get stranded at Project Quantum Leap. But she was really kind of, disrespect isn't the right term, but she kept hammering on, well, why can't Tom do it? What, right at the very beginning of the episode. And she was kind of picking at him. Well, why is this happening? Why can't somebody else do it? are they trying to say that she doesn't want him there? Or
I got the feeling that, we didn't find out till he was even an alcoholic until just a little bit after that. And I think that may have been her way, because of what happened when the project shut down. He started to become alcoholic. She was scared that he would go back into that. But we didn't know that part yet. That's what I got out of it.
But she seems so adamant about,
because this isn't the first time
what's going on,
It's not the first time she's been through this. She has said it herself.
Yeah,
she didn't want to do it again.
And only very little has been kind of intimated about it, but I'm fairly certain that when Sam was lost, Al could not
probably.
Yeah, I think that's where she was going. Yeah,
kind of became a shadow of his former self, doing everything and anything he could to the day he died, trying to find him, and it just destroyed him.
Yeah,
she didn't want to see that happening to Magic.
Yeah.
So did you guys get the feeling that Al had become an alcoholic again?
Thanks for bringing that up, Brian.
Because the wording can go either way on that.
That's what I wondered.
The way Beth said it.
I don't think so. I think he was I think he worked himself to death. I think he was so determined to find Sam.
I agree with Lisa.
That he
I don't think he did that again.
I think the reason why Beth has the pieces of that machine was because of Al. He got the stuff out.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to give up, no matter what it took. And I think he worked himself to death. He wasn't going to get drunk and screw up any chance to find Sam.
Yeah.
And just
the thought had crossed my mind. I'm like, are they trying to imply that? I wasn't.
And as the years went by,
I'm sure you're right. Yeah.
The years went by and he got older and older and started to realize that this wasn't going to happen. I think he just fell into a depression that he never came out of and just kind of wasted away.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
If they apply that, I'm really going to be pissed. It's like I can't deal with this non-canon bullcrap. I can't. If you're not going to follow canon,
especially
go make something else. Don't make Quantum Leap.
It's such a huge sacrifice to save him, to change life.
Let's look on the bright side. At least Al had a family. That was.
Well, that would be another reason why he wouldn't go back to alcohol anyway.
Yeah, but if he had lost Sam and he didn't have that family to get him through it, maybe it would have been much worse for Al. I'm trying to I'm trying to spin it and say let's just look at the good side of that. Maybe it would have been so much worse for Al. So I don't know. I'm trying to.
Yeah, when she said that, I didn't take it that Al was an alcoholic, but I see people online saying that they thought she meant that. But you could go either way, the way she's worded it.
I think she's probably talking about his previous alcoholism that Sam helped him get out of, right?
Yeah. I'm sure she had dealt with it, too.
Project Starbright.
At Starbright, yeah.
Because that's how they met. Is because he was hitting the
vending machine.
He was hitting the machine.
Yeah.
If that still happened, I mean,
I'm sure it did. I mean,
they still have to meet.
Well, yeah, but the only reason he was an alcoholic was because he lost Beth and he couldn't cope and his life fell apart. He divorced times.
No, I think
what I
it
will
was
say is
PTSD from his POW experience.
Yeah, I think it still would have affected him. Maybe just not in the same way, but I think it affected him. Yeah, that's exactly where I was going with that.
Generally, very angry person all around. Between Beth and the PTSD, and then it even started when he was a kid. I mean, left by his mother. Left him in an orphanage. Sister died in an institution. I mean, his whole life was a mess.
A lot of trauma. Yeah, I mean,
made him a great character, though.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it did.
Donald Belisario made great characters.
Flawed characters can be the best.
Yeah.
Why he was so close to Sam was because at that point in his life, everybody in the military and all his friends had given up on him. They thought he was a washed out drunk and it would amount to nothing. But Sam saw something in him that was special and he would not give up on him.
Yeah.
And I think that just endeared him to him for life, like a little cat or something. Like he just imprints on him for life. You know.
Yep.
The old saying goes, the greatest gift you can give is to lay down your life for a friend. And
Yep.
Al basically did that by sacrificing 2 years of his life in the POW camp to help Sam save his brother. And then, you know, luckily, though, Sam returned the favor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Later on.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So true.
I don't know. I guess we're done. I guess we have nothing else to say about the episode. I mean, I think we all agree that it was some more than others. Some loved it more than others, but we all liked it. We all, you know, whatever.
Yeah. It was good.
And at least we got a leap out into the next episode, which we haven't gotten enough of.
I'm looking forward to that one. Yes.
Yes, we did. We got another leap out.
And it looks, I mean, it looks interesting. They hadn't said much beforehand. I think they only just revealed that it's going to be like in 1955. Is that what he said? Okay, because some people thought he was saying. Yeah. Some people thought he was saying, "Ben, find her." I think even my wife thought it too.
No,
sometimes
he said.
Sometimes I can't hear things properly.
Because I watched it again tonight. Something about you have to find the formula, and then that right as he died, right before he leaves or faints or whatever, he says Pathfinder.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that has to do with Albert Einstein.
Yeah, it's something about that and the Nazis
in 1955.
Yeah, and they're trying to. So it should be interesting.
Their hands on what is apparently a scientific formula for a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, yes. I think so. Yeah.
Whatever's Nazis after World War II, anyway.
Yeah.
The synopsis is at Princeton University in 1955. Ben must find a formula hidden by Albert Einstein that holds the key to nuclear energy before the Nazis get it. And he's surprised to run into a familiar face on campus, which of course would be Hannah.
Hannah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't think she's going to be at the present day Quantum Leap. It's not like you had said. She's too old for that. He's just going to see her continuously. I don't know how she fits into his overall story, but I think she's just going to be kind of here and there, just throughout a few leaps.
I wonder how they're going. How he's going to, is he going to be like Hannah? Is it going to click with him who she is, or is she going? Or is she going to? Because she's not going to be able to see that. Oh, you were the.
Yeah, that's why he keeps his mouth shut.
Yeah,
right.
And not say anything. That was another thing that irked me. This was a bottlenecked episode in one small room in a small store, and here he is jacking his jaw to somebody who's not there. Everybody in the store.
Yeah,
I
noticed that too. Yeah,
it's like, what the hell are you doing? At least Sam at least been going to a back room or the bathroom or something, or he pretends off.
Cover his mouth
like
this. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He could have pulled out his cell phone. Maybe a flip phone at that point.
No, they didn't have cell
in
phones.
92,
yeah.
no
cell phones in 92. Well, anyway, that next episode is called Secret
He could have at least gone to the phone
room
there in the office.
Yeah.
Or go to the stock room. Or out in the alleyway. Something.
Yeah.
They really should have us proofread these scripts before they produce the episodes.
We know the canon. We know how this shit works.
We can help you out. One of us. We'll help you. Jeez.
And one other thing, last thing that I'm going to say, and I will keep saying, and I will die on this hill. Stop with the history-changing lips. That's not what this show is. I don't need him to go and change some, life-altering, world history-changing event. Simple stuff.
Mhm.
Keep it
Yeah.
simple.
Keep it simple. They don't
It's supposed
have
to be
to.
about the people.
Right.
Not the nuclear
Right.
codes, please.
No, listen,
That's
I don't
not.
know. We don't know what the whole episode is yet. It's just
Oh, we
I don't
already know
we'll
what
see.
it's going to be about. We already know.
The closest
Seriously,
historical stuff.
Hannah's going to be there at the university where he's going to show up. They're going to talk to Einstein. Einstein's going to do this. Then the Nazis are going to come in, try to take the stuff away, and then Ben stops him from taking it away. Hello.
Well, it's on the trailer. He basically says, "I just punched out a Nazi." So, any excuse.
And
to punch
maybe
a Nazi
Hannah
is
will
in.
help him save Einstein's.
I don't know.
Crap. I don't know. But I
We'll see.
mean, why can't it just be about a young woman who has, I don't know, hurt herself, or she's on the verge of committing suicide and he stops her from committing a suicide, and that's it.
Simple. I mean,
It's something small,
tight, simple. The most historically adjacent the original show ever got was the Lee Harvey Oswald stuff. It only ever happened because Don had met him in real life.
right?
So he made it a thing.
Right.
It was some of the best stuff they ever did too. And he never attempted the assassination because that was not the point. Point.
Well, the next episode it's called Secret History. I don't think it's not supposed to be on next week because of the Republican debate, I think. So it's November 15th. So it'll be 2 weeks. So that's about it. Thank you, Lisa, for joining us again.
Yeah, good to have you back.
Sorry, come back more often.
MJ, you and I see things very similar.
I know. I was just I really need her to come back because Brian keeps telling me to shut my mic off, and I'm just like,
two
no.
of them.
Run. Y'all got lucky because I fully went in thinking I was going to rip this episode to shreds, up one side and down the other.
Well, you basically said it was Black and White on Fire with just different elements. So,
like I said, they tried, and I will give them a gold star for trying.
That's good. All right. Remind everybody, Lisa, where everybody can find you if they want to check your channel out.
I'm on YouTube, The Wolf and the Storm. I'll have some new content coming up once the 60th anniversary Doctor Who stuff comes out. And, of course, I'm always on the Twitter at wolfandstorm78.
Oh, good. You said it right. The Twitter. Yeah. It's not X.
The Twitch web.
It's not X.
The Twix.
Elon Musk needs to get it right. It's not Twitter. It's not X. It's Twitter, Elon Musk. Get it right. I'm not calling it X. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. That's been our discussion review of One Night in Koreatown. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'm Damon. It's been Mike, Brian, MJ, and Lisa. And see you next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.